Hello! Today, we're just going to talk about the progress so far regarding the whole transition thing. I don't know if you've heard, but look, I've got notes. And it says up at the top of this, it says, is it right there? Spoilers. It says that this is for the 7th. And the 7th is today. So, and it's 3:45. So let's get going. So a quick recap. I've been on hormone replacement therapy now for about 2/3 of a year. But a month and a half ago, I got my first injection. The injection was a testosterone blocker injection because the pills that I was previously on weren't as effective as they were supposed to be. Also, since like 2 days ago, I've had to bump up my estrogen intake even further. So I'm now on my second step up. I guess all of my manliness is just too much to be contained. But anyway, let's call it almost a year on hormone replacement therapy. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the experience so far, the changes that I have, the effects so far, parentheses, dose boost, and then in general, what I'm doing going forward. So, effects so far, nausea. Now, I don't know if you know any women or if you've had experience in being a woman, but in my lifetime, I've heard once or twice about the existence of nausea. It's very mild, mostly. It's just sort of like a lingering, you know, like if you've gone on an amusement park ride or a long car trip or a bus trip and you were like not looking out the window, you were looking at your phone, you get that sort of like twinge in the bottom of your neck, somewhere down here, where you can sort of feel that if I don't act now, I will start to feel more nauseous. Except for the one time where I got legitimately so nauseous that I had to cancel a stream. Like an hour in, I had to just stop and just go sit by the toilet, nothing happened, and then go lie down for like 3 hours. So that was fun. Number 2 is sore nipples. My nipples have gotten very sensitive to the point where I never before noticed how often I probably bump my chest. You know, just in general, like by going like this and grazing myself. Or just a couple of days ago, I left my bathroom and I closed the door to the bathroom by bumping it, just sort of giving it a good old like chest bump. And I regretted that. So that started happening, which is a good thing. That is definitely an expected, I would say that the first expected physical change or physically noticeable effect. So that's a good thing. I mean, all of these things are bad things on their own, but in context, they are good things. So yay, pain. And I guess as an addendum to that, I could mention that we have community movie nights once a week. Well, every Sunday, we have community movie nights where we watch a movie together. And a few weeks ago, we watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, I have seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 many times, well, several times at least. And I knew what was happening. I knew all about the ending. Spoilers for the ending, mildly. But there's a nice scene. There's a sad, nice scene. It's a funeral scene, but it's sort of triumphant at the same time. It's very beautiful. And I cannot remember the last time I ever shed a tear in my life. I think I haven't actually cried since I was a kid, and you didn't get McDonald's. But despite having seen this movie before, at that funeral scene, two entire tears rolled down my cheek. Only from this eye, though. So, you know, I'm halfway there. That's another change that I was expecting, so that's good. Third, I would like to mention the hair removal process. So I tried laser hair removal for a long time. I tried it for 6 sessions, and you only do 1 session every month and a half. So essentially, even before I started hormone therapy, I started doing hair removal treatment basically all of 2021. And it had zero effect. No effect at all. So that wasn't necessarily what I was after, because at that point, when I called it quits, I had spent about $1,000 in total on the laser, and it did nothing. So I found this place that were offering electrolysis, which is epilation, which is, well, it's the fancier version. It's not just like yanking hair out like you would with a normal, like a machine you can buy on Amazon or whatever. It's way more painful than that, which is so fun, and experiencing it is the best. I think I've mentioned this before, but what you do is, or what they do, what she does to me, and I pay her for, is a tiny, tiny needle, like, well, I don't know why I'm looking around. It's not like I have a tiny needle just laying around on my desk. I do my cocaine I do my heroin in the bedroom. She pokes it into your skin, and then she pushes a little foot pedal that shocks you. It makes the needle, the tip of the needle, well, I guess the whole needle, become electrified. So it sends a little shock into you down, sort of like, I don't know, like a 2 millimeters down into the follicle itself, shocks it, and then as she pulls the needle out, she steps on this pedal again and shocks again on the way out. Because you can't always be sure that you hit the follicle when you go the full length. They're sometimes in different depth and whatever. So just to be safe, rather than having to do everything twice, she burns twice, or zaps it twice with a needle, and then she pulls the needle out, and then she grabs the hair with tweezers and pulls the whole hair out with the follicle. And if you couldn't tell already from the description of this, it is not unpainful. It actually hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. And I've been using this numbing cream that you're supposed to put on when you get like tattoos and stuff, or if you're getting shots and you can't handle needles very well. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with needles. When I've gotten the COVID vaccines and stuff, it's like, obviously you can feel it, or even with the hormone injections, like, yeah, it hurts, but it's not like an intolerable amount of pain. It's just like ow, oh, okay, well, it's over now. This, though, is 200 times in an hour on, like, my mustache mostly recently. 200 times in the same area, and you get more and more sore, obviously. I can still feel it. My upper lip still feels kind of taut. Even with the numbing cream. I'm assuming the numbing cream probably helps a little bit, but it still hurts like an ass. I had to have 2 paper tissues because one wasn't enough. I drenched one of them by just dabbing my eyes because they were running constantly just from the pain. It's not like it was an agonizing, I have to leave now pain. I wasn't crying pain, like bawling my eyes out. It was just that level of pain where your eyes are constantly watering. So my eyes were just running, and I had to dab them away, and she kept going. The problem is, you don't just go over an area once, because whatever visible, this actually explains it to me, whatever visible hair you have anywhere on your body, there's actually 3 times as much. You have the visible hair that is growing, and then you have the hair that is underneath, like in you, that isn't visible yet, but it's about to grow out. And then you have the sort of dormant, latent follicles that haven't started growing yet, that are sort of like forming in your skin or whatever. So you have to get the visible hair, and then you have to do it again when the hair comes out, the next level of hair, and then you have to do it again when the 3rd level of hair cycles through. So approximately 3 times for any area you cover, and we've just about done 1. So that'll be fun. But that's where I'm at with the whole so far so good progress. So that's pretty good. I like it so far. I mean, I don't enjoy it, but I do like where it's going. It's going in a good direction, which is over there to my right, apparently. Another thing, though, that I'm also doing is going in for an eye checkup on January 25th. Because if you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, it shows up less when I have makeup on, because the makeup sort of masks it. But my right eye, if I look up, you can see it. It just won't open more than that. This way is fine. This way, not so much. It's the inner corner of the eye that just, I don't know if there's too much scar tissue from the eyelid surgery or what happened. There's dust right there. Ah, I got it! So I'm going in for an eye checkup. For an eyelid checkup. So that happens on the 25th. But then, on the 9th of February, this is the big one. Well, it's not the big one, but it's a big one. On the 9th of February, I'm finally getting my nose done. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, oh, you don't need it, though. That's fine. You can have any nose. It doesn't. You don't have to have a specific nose to be a woman. I know. I agree. I want a specific nose, though. Well, mainly I want a smaller size. I want the profile taken in, and I want a slight, the curve, the drop shape to the nose where it sort of curves in and is just nicer. At that point, I will be battered and bruised, and I will have one of those rails on my nose, and I will have bruises all over and tape for a week, and then I'll look like crap, and then I'll look better. Hopefully. The only other surgery I intend to do down the line is the bottom surgery. So this is like the final form of the face. So that's pretty good. And speaking of bottom surgery, because in Sweden, the process is, well, first you have to get the diagnosis of gender dysphoria, which I have. Then you have to get accepted to a gender specialist clinic, which I have not yet, because the waiting period to get into that is 20 months. And by now I'm like 10 months in? So there's probably another 10 months of waiting before I can even get in. Then they have to evaluate me for another further diagnosis of transsexualism, which is different than gender dysphoria, because that means that you want to be the opposite gender that you are assigned, rather than just identifying as something other than your biological gender. So that has to be done, and that can take up to a year. You also have to be on hormone replacement therapy, and then live as your intended gender if indeed you get the transsexualism diagnosis, and then you can apply to the state to get your gender legally changed on your passport and documents, whatever. And after that, now we are diagnosis 20 months, 1 year on hormone, 1 year living. Now you can apply to the state, which takes another half a year. And then I cannot find any information on this, but I did see in Denmark there was a 2 to 3 years of waiting to get bottom surgery. So we're talking 20 months plus 2 years plus 6 months plus 3 years. That's a long time, considering I'm only over here. I'm gonna be old when I get here. So what I did was I contacted this clinic in Canada because I know that both Steph Sanyari and Natalie Wynn, ContraPoints, have both had at least their facial feminization surgeries done in and around Canada. I think even from the very same doctor for both of them. So I don't know, I didn't contact that doctor, but I know that Canada is good when it comes to the whole transitional surgery process. So I contacted them and I asked them, number one, is it legal for non-Canadian citizens to even get sexual reassignment surgery in Canada? And if yes, what would the cost be? What is the general cost? Are we talking, $100 100,000, 500,000, a million? What's the, like, just a general, is it within my possible ever grasp, or is it just so unattainable that I don't even have to consider it? I haven't gotten a reply yet, but hopefully they can shed some light on that. In the meantime, though, I did get some more info on the whole patches versus gel situation. So currently I'm using estradiol gel, which is a gel that you apply on your inner thigh morning and night. 3 pumps in the morning and 2 pumps in the night. And I don't like it. Obviously, it does add estrogen to my body, but having to slather on a bunch of gel on your thighs morning and night, not only does it leave you gooey for a good half hour until that like soaks in, so you have to not wear pants, but also it leaves you it leaves a little bit of a sticky residue on your legs, or on your skin, I guess, and it kind of, if you don't wash it off often, it kind of starts to flake almost. It's gross. It's kind of gross. It makes you feel kind of gross. Because I'm going via Gender GP, since Sweden is the 20-month waiting period, because I'm going via Gender GP, which is a British clinic online, they cannot send me patches because patches are at a production deficiency due to COVID. So the only other option was for me to get a prescription from them and collect the patches locally here in Sweden. Problem is, Sweden only accepts foreign prescriptions from countries within the European Union. And I don't know if you've heard of a little thing they like to call Brexit. But the UK is no longer part of the EU, so I cannot get prescriptions from the UK and pick them up in the EU. Turns out, however, the prescriptions that the Gender GP people, despite being located physically in the UK, the prescriptions they write are EU prescriptions. So I might still be able to get a prescription from them and pick it up here. If that works out, then it's just slap on 2 patches and then you replace them every 3 days or so, and then that's it. You just have them on. No more gel, no more sticky, no more residue. So thumbs held for that. Fingers crossed. Well, fingers crossed is lying in Sweden. Thumbs held is the good lucky. Thumbs held. So that's where we are. That's where I'm at. Other than that, I guess for me personally, the only thing I can do is try to train my voice, which is the hardest thing because I have no coach. I can watch YouTube tutorials. Trans voice lessons is fantastic. There are numerous other channels that do informational videos, educational videos about training your voice. And it's all about raising the larynx, making what, let me see if I can remember, the oropharyngeal closure, making your mouth space smaller, and working on your vocal fry, raising your larynx, and constricting your vocal cords and all this stuff. And that's all well and good in theory, but it's really difficult to just do when you don't see any result and you don't know if you're doing the right thing. It makes it a lot more difficult when there's no one there to tell you, oh no, try this, do this instead. I can see that you're doing this, or your voice is stuck in this. Try doing this. I'm just sitting here doing I don't know if it's good. Boy, I almost threw it in my coffee. So that's what I'm working on, I suppose. But that's where we are. That's where the video's gotta end. Now we have an issue though. Look, I didn't write down anything about an ending. I just stopped writing notes. So I don't really know how to end it.